One of the unfortunate comparisons, and I guess you could say criticisms I hear, is that Red Dead Redemption is just Grand Theft Auto with horses. If you have that belief, either you didn't play Red Dead Redemption or you simply have no idea what you're talking about. For the last few months, we have gotten tons of new details on Red Dead Redemption 2, and for anyone paying attention, this is a game that is much more improved than any of Rockstar's past work, but also a game that is very different. Still though, the comparisons to GTA for some reason keep coming. One example being Collider Games, who reacted to the first gameplay video by saying the following.
It kind of feels like, I might be off completely, but kind of feels like an old school Grand Theft Auto. Like if Grand Theft Auto, if this was Grand Theft Auto in the mid-series or something like that, then like I would definitely want
Grand Theft Equine.
Yeah, if I told you this was a gaming channel, I think most of you would be surprised to hear that. But this is not the only comment they make.
I'm not terribly impressed by it. There's some cool things there, but ultimately it's a lot of stuff that feels like it feels carbon copy GTA 5.
Carbon copy GTA 5. Something that makes absolutely no sense based off of what we've been shown and seen. But lastly, this trash opinion continues.
And I get it. It's Rockstar. They're making another game, and the original pitch for to get people into Red Dead Redemption. It's like if you ever if you told someone about Red Dead Redemption, they're like, "No, I've never heard of it." You say, "It's GTA, but in the Wild West," and you're like, "Oh, okay. Well, this feels too much like GTA, but in the Wild West."
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God! Stop lying.
So I've actually for the last few weeks been trying to figure out how to react to dumb comments like the one Collider Games made, which I will say maybe they should just stick to trash movie opinions, but unfortunately a lot of people think that way, expecting Red Dead Redemption 2 to be the Wild West GTA, but it's never ever been that, and in this upcoming game it's drastically more different. So today we're going to go through 10 ways Red Dead Redemption 2 is better and different than Grand Theft Auto 5. Starting at the number 10 spot, there is no character switching. One of the big issues I personally had with GTA 5's story was the character switching, and I had difficulty getting into the narrative. Michael, Trevor, and Franklin were all interesting and unique characters, but the story didn't flow as well as how it did with Grand Theft Auto 4's Niko Bellic, and really any of Rockstar's past games. That's something I know some will disagree with, but I really did like the darker story. Now, character switching isn't a bad thing, it can work. Recently, developer Quantic Dreams nailed multiple protagonists in my opinion, with Detroit Become Human. But what I feel worked with that game was the player really saw the characters grow, and there was a lot more dialogue and understanding of who these characters were and the obstacles that they faced, which made emotional moments much more impactful. Anyway, Rockstar going back to the one protagonist system with Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably for the best, as the original Red Dead Redemption is remembered best for the impactful and emotional journey of John Marston. Hopefully something we get with RDR2's sole protagonist Arthur Morgan. Recently, Rockstar art director Josh Bass explained in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter why they chose to not include multiple protagonists in Red Dead Redemption 2, saying, "Switching characters made sense and was a lot of fun in Grand Theft Auto 5. Sticking with a single character felt more appropriate for the structure and narrative of a Western. Arthur lives with and fights alongside the other members of the Vanderlyn gang, and they are a group of fully realized characters with relationships to each other and to Arthur, but this is Arthur's story, and we are placing players firmly in Arthur's boots as he and the gang deals with a rapidly changing world. We think people will really love the feeling of being in the gang. It isn't like anything we've done before." Number 9, role-playing elements. Choice and consequence is something that is slowly becoming more and more common in all open-world games. Rockstar previously had included some role-playing mechanics with 2006 Bully and 2010's Red Dead Redemption, but for the most part they've only stepped on this element until now. Arthur Morgan has options as he approaches situations. If he gets caught stealing an item from someone, he can choose to try and de-escalate the situation, or he can intimidate them. But even then, the reactions will come dynamically from NPCs, with some ready for a fight and others running away scared of our protagonist. This is a feature that we'll be using in numerous situations as we explore the vast world of RDR2. Rockstar North Coast studio head Rob Nelson told IGN back in May, "We basically took the D-pad on a DualShock 4, which was a binary action potentially, and opened it up to give you a greater range of possibilities. That just gives you, the player, more choice concerning how they want to behave in the world. There's more ways to interact with the world than down the barrel of a gun. Besides just that, open world exploration has been greatly enhanced as now we can explore and enter most buildings, looting whatever items can be found, from valuable items like maybe jewels to basic items like food, which helps our gang continue on. Now included is also a crafting system, which all that's been confirmed thus far is that it's a simple system that will allow us to exploit some of the resources we gather, like plants and herbs. Weapons will also be something that we'll be able to customize and improve at gunsmiths, and additionally, based on some of the information included in the different editions of the game, it appears there may be a sort of skill system. Within the special edition of the game, it's mentioned that players receive a core stat boost, which benefits Arthur's stamina, health, and Deadeye cores, although I will add we don't really know how far this system may or may not go. Now lastly, something that is returning that was featured in Red Dead Redemption is the honor system, which can greatly alter the experience. Like in Red Dead Redemption, we can assume that if you play as a ruthless, unforgiving outlaw versus maybe someone who acts like a vigilante, there will be consequences and advantages to acting whatever way you do. In Red Dead Redemption, you could gain perks for acting either good or bad, which hopefully returns more advanced this time around. Either way, these are just some of the role-playing mechanics that we're going to have featured, which will make this experience much more enjoyable and immersive. Next at number 8 is the physics. One of the things many people didn't like was Grand Theft Auto V's ragdoll physics, which felt like a downgrade from the Euphoria physics that were present in games like Grand Theft Auto 4 and Red Dead Redemption. The Euphoria physics just felt and look much more realistic, especially with how NPCs react to getting shot in a certain part of their body. Additionally, at times, this aspect of Red Dead Redemption was wacky and unpredictable, which made for some fun moments like when your character drank a little too much. Either way, with RDR2, it looks like the physics are much more like to Euphoria based on the gameplay footage that was shown in August. To number 7 is the better hardware. A lot of people don't understand that Red Dead Redemption 2 is Rockstar's first game for this current console generation of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Grand Theft Auto 5 was ported over to these current consoles, but wasn't built intended for them, meaning we haven't seen the true power Rockstar has this generation. As stated by Rockstar art director Josh Bass, Grand Theft Auto 5 set a pretty high benchmark for us as a company, but even the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of that game were based on technical concepts from the PlayStation 3 era. Red Dead Redemption 2 is our first game for the latest generation of hardware and was an opportunity for our teams to upgrade every single aspect of our approach to game design at once, from graphics and lighting to AI, to weather, sound and score, facial and body animation, and more. We have used that power to create a world that goes far beyond anything we have ever done in terms of depth, interactivity, and persistence. And this actually leads to number 6, which is the open world. Rockstar has consistently described this upcoming game as their deepest and most detailed Rockstar world yet. Additionally, an official PlayStation channel has made known that this will also be Rockstar's biggest world yet, which is some very surprising news based on how massive Grand Theft Auto 5's world is. But the most notable detail isn't the size, but that this is the most detailed world, which is what matters most when we're exploring such a vast world with various regions. Rockstar has previously stated that the world of the game moves whether we're doing something or not. The NPCs all have schedules and duties and aren't waiting for our character to do something. As noted in the IGN preview that came earlier this year, the endgame for Rockstar is to create a world inhabited by characters who exist independently of you. Like the real world, they'll have conversations among themselves, which will branch and change depending if you're nearby or get involved. NPCs aren't there simply to give you missions or upgrade your items. This world does not revolve around you. Furthermore, Rockstar's art director Aaron Garbett added, "We are trying to make a world that's both expansive and deep at the same time. We've always tried to create worlds that feel like places as much as games, and we've been able to use the latest technology to push that idea forward in ways we never have before." Lastly, Rockstar's Rob Nelson also told GameStar in a previous interview that the world itself is supposed to be as big as possible, but this is not our focus this time. We want to give the game experience a depth that has never been before. We want you to go out into this world, but also into it, into the cities and the buildings, which are now much more detailed than ever, down to the individual cabinets that can be opened to take things out. Next, at number 5 is immersion and realism. The way Rockstar has described this experience and many of the details we've already gone over in this video is to build a game that is as immersive and fun as possible. Aaron Garbett stated in the recent Hollywood Reporter article that this was their biggest goal, making the player forget that they are playing a game and instead leaving them with a memory of a place. That's how I leave this project personally. Now we are finishing up. I've spent years living in this world every day and I'm going to miss it, but I leave it with memories of a place I've lived in. That's pretty amazing. Rockstar's design decisions has been built around this concept, with hunting even. When you kill a bear or say a deer, if you leave it on the back of your horse for some time, it will eventually decompose or rot and attract other predators. Additionally, there's an ecosystem in place, which means we'll see a pack of wolves hunting and or a bear trying to get fish by a river. These are the small things that we'll encounter and get to see as we travel about. But with this aspect, we're also playing a character who has a role. He's Dutch's enforcer, a member of a gang, and one of the individuals everyone looks up to gather food. This is part of the immersion and realism Rockstar's been working towards, but even then, Rockstar understands the fear of things becoming too grindy and laborious. But to number 4, a new thing improved from all of Rockstar's past games is NPC reactions. Rockstar's Rob Nelson told GameStar back in May, in GTA 5 it's kind of strange to walk through a realistic modern city, pull out an AK-47, and do not bother anyone. If you aim at the people passing by, they panic, but if you carry the weapon around, it does not matter. Here, 100 years earlier in a dusty city, that's less of a problem, but they react differently if you carry the rifle instead of having it in the holster. But this feature does not stop there and is thanks to artificial intelligence Rockstar's been developing for 6 years. NPCs will react to how you look whether you're dirty or not. NPCs will also react to a dead body, as stated by Rob Nelson. In our previous games they just rode by and did not see what had just happened. Now they see it and ride slower, say shat, or run away. When they have witnessed the crime, they alert the law enforcers, who then come and investigate the crime. And if I'm still there as a player, they ask me and I can try to talk myself out of the situation or not. Now to number 3 are heists. Yes, one of the features common in Grand Theft Auto games like GTA 4 and GTA 5 is making its way to the Wild West, but not in the way many expect. There's no longer this long checklist of things to do. You just gather the gang members needed and start whatever robbery you're going to go on. But as the robbery or heist goes on, there will be options to how you approach it, like a female gang member, maybe Karen, starting by asking how she should behave. She can either act innocent or drunk and try and distract the people working at the bank for a fast and quiet robbery. Next, as we eventually get in the bank and make our way to the vault, another option will be given to crack the safes or just blow them up. Obviously, it seems some heists will come with planning, like the one teased in the recent gameplay video of the city of St. Denis, but most robberies we go on, we won't have to gather items to start it. We just do it, and as we proceed, we'll be given options to each important part of the heist. To the number 2 spot is the fact that this is a single player game. A lot of the fears I've heard over the years is how Red Dead will be ruined because of Rockstar's fixation with the online mode, but thus far, we have barely heard about that part of the game. Obviously, eventually we'll hear about it, but it's clear from all the marketing so far, this is not what Rockstar wants people to think of this game as. Even Rockstar Director of Design Imran Sarwar told IGN late last year, for all the single player fans who hate multiplayer games, please be aware of this. We're working flat out on Red Dead Redemption 2. Having successful multiplayer games lets us take the necessary time with single player games to make them all they can be. 8 years of development certainly makes that true. Now, I'm not dismissing how big the online mode will be, but the focus clearly has been on the single player, because that's what Rockstar knows most people will be buying this game for, which is why I personally believe eventually we will see single player DLC post-launch, maybe an Undead Nightmare 2. But finally, to our number 1 spot are some of the other new gameplay features. Red Dead Redemption 2 won't have 100-mile-per-hour cars and jetpacks. This is the Wild West, where most likely our vehicles will be our horse. There's been some speculation on being able to use a bicycle and a boat, but we don't know quite yet. Even with this game being about realism, there still is fantasy elements, like the tracking system, which has Arthur finding an animal's wounded body, which may be connected to the Deadeye system, which slows down time. Additionally, fighting has been improved drastically. Fishing is an added feature, stealth has also been added, and this is just what we know so far about this game. There's been some credible leaks mentioning that we'll also see a first-person mode and gold mining included. But my point from all of what we've gone over is that Red Dead Redemption 2 is nothing like Grand Theft Auto 5, or really any experience that we've gotten from Rockstar games before. In a lot of ways, this game may set the bar for what's expected from an open world title. Anyway, what is your opinion on Red Dead Redemption 2, and what aspect do you think is most important to you? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, and also consider subscribing for much more Red Dead Redemption 2 content to come, as I'm one of your best sources on this upcoming game. And remember, Outlaws for life.